A biblical perspective on life, culture and current events. This is 2020 on Vision.
This is Andrew McLennan. The land of the long white cloud has a long and rich history of involvement in world missions. Kiwi missionaries and pastors have been sent all over the world and much fruit has been born from their labours. And today we check in with a Kiwi missions organisation that is making a difference in the lives of children, some of whom have been abandoned, orphaned and sadly abused. And the CEO of this organisation, which is known as Ruel House, Pauline Curtis-Smith, joins me now. Pauline, welcome.
Thank you.
Pauline, as I said, New Zealand has a very long and rich history in world missions for the last 150 years, doesn't it?
Yes.
And obviously your organisation focuses on practical help. Can you tell me what Ruel House does?
Yeah, sure. We have 3 child caring homes or orphanages. We do operations for children with cleft lip and cleft palate. And we outreach to the Mangan, which is a tribal group in the island of Mindoro. And yes, we outreach to the community.
Great. Where's that island, the island of Mindoro? I don't even know where that is. Is that the Philippines?
Oh, yes, sorry. Yes, it's Oriental Mindoro in the Philippines. We've got one orphanage there, and we've got another one on the island of Romblon and another one in the city called Sorsogon.
Okay, so that your focus is mainly on the Philippines then?
Yes, pretty much entirely.
And Ruel House, where does the name Ruel House come from? What does it mean?
Ruel was the name of the very first child that we found, and we also do severely malnourished children. So Ruel was a little boy we found. He was severely malnourished. He had a cleft lip and cleft palate, and he was abandoned. And so he encompasses everything that we do. So we named our foundation after him.
Oh, amazing. And I've seen you guys are involved in rescuing children, doing child surgeries and community outreach. What do you mean by rescuing children? How does that work?
It's to do with children mostly sexually abused. And we're finding that there's a huge rise in kids that are a part of incest or a result of incest or trafficked or just being sexually abused by the neighbour or a family member. So it's actually really quite heartbreaking. There's so much of it going on right now. And so we want to rescue those kids.
Yeah, and so you're a New Zealand organisation. These children are in the Philippines. So what is the point of contact? Have you got people on the ground or are you working with local churches? How are you finding these children that need rescuing?
We're working in all those areas with the community, with the government, with the churches. And quite often we just have walk-in or like a concerned grandparent or a concerned mayor. Many of those different areas is where we get our children from.
Yeah, so they'll literally just walk to the orphanage, to the structures, the physical structures that you have, and just tell you that they have a real need, and you'll try and meet that need.
Yes, sometimes it's a phone call from a government organisation, from the Department of Social Welfare, that will ask us if we'll help out, from the police, from the court, many different areas.
Yeah. And so you're doing surgery. So are the surgeries carried out by local doctors or are you guys flying doctors into the Philippines from overseas to do these surgeries?
We always use local surgeons. We find, one, they're much faster at it because there's so many operations done in the Philippines. And we just feel like by using the locals, we're involving the whole community. So we have a team of surgeons that we come down to the hospital we're working in at the time from Manila.
Excellent, yeah. So it sounds like you've got a pretty well-oiled machine there. What's the future hold for you, Pauline? What do you guys want to do to grow?
Right now we've just built 2 new orphanages because of a desperate need, especially for the kids that are being sexually abused. So our biggest need now is we've actually completed one building and almost finished the other. So we want to furnish that second building with beds and stove and tables and chairs and things, but we also need to employ more staff, like social workers and caregivers. So our greatest need, I would say, right now is for finances for more staff and to furbish the second building that we've almost finished.
Okay, and I saw one of your buildings is called the Heart of Texas because you had some Texans donate a lot of money to help build that?
That's right. It was a group of, actually we've got a board member finance the actual structure of the building. So, through him and all his contacts. So now we've got the building, but we now need to be able to finance all the kids. The day-to-day care of them is super expensive. So that's where we're looking at right now is we've got the building, we've just got to get the staff and the beds and the stove and the table and chairs and all those things.
Yeah, and do you have your own staff, New Zealand staff, working on the ground in the Philippines, or you're only using locals?
Mostly locals. I've got one New Zealander who's the head of that base that we're talking about in Sorsogon, and I spend a lot of my time there as well. And we're actually looking for somebody else to head up our orphanage in Romblon, which is actually the centre of the sexual abuse that's carrying on. It's really known for that. So we're looking for somebody to head that up. But I employ 54 Filipinos, and I really like to employ the locals. So we're just really seeing how it reaches out into the community for their families. Their kids are able to go to university, and so by employing the locals, we can really see a picture of them being lifted out of poverty, and their children are becoming architects and lawyers and nurses and things like that. So it's a really win-win situation by employing them.
Do you work in with local churches as well?
Yes, we do. All our kids go to church and belong to some program. We also have local churches that come in and teach our staff the basics of Christianity and run different courses for kids. So we're quite involved with the local church in each of our orphanages.
Yeah, that's great. So are there any plans to go into other nations, or are you really just Philippines focused at the moment?
No, not really. I did have this plan of going into different nations, and I actually went to Cambodia and Myanmar and Vietnam and did a feasibility study on each one. And each one I just felt like I was blocked, and the Lord is saying, is this wrong? We'll go back to the Philippines where I've called you. So I thought I'd better obey.
Yep.
So, yeah. And because of knowing the culture, and I have the basic language that I can speak, and for now, I think just concentrating on the Philippines, there's so much need there. It's like, why would I go to another country when there's even more great need right where I am?
Yeah. I like your perspective on that, or your focus. It's just a case of where's God sending us, because we can't be everywhere, can we? And we can't do everything, can we?
No, it's right, and I try to, but then God says, well up, Pauline, just do well what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Pauline, if people want to get in touch with you, your website is ruelfoundation.org. Now, Ruel is spelled Ruel, and that's ruelfoundation.org. And you guys are doing great. We've got a great website, lots of information on there about the kids you help and how you help them, and the different things you do, community outreach, surgeries, rescuing children, even how people can become volunteers to help out as well. But I really want to thank you for what you're doing, Pauline. Great to hear from a New Zealand organisation involved in missions. And Pauline Curtis-Smith, the CEO of Ruel Foundation, I want to thank you for joining us on 2020 Today.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Well done.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.